Hey guys, so this is a basic hand-forged Damascus kitchen knife with a stabilized ash. It's got black dye in it too, and then we got a stainless steel ring at the front, and I like to do this Takeda style little epoxy puddle here at the front. Very basic blade, nothing really to it. Just a couple. What was I gonna say? Like these couple things to point out about making Damascus in the kitchen knives. Just a couple hints: is you don't use ferric chloride. You use what we call in Finnish akkuvesi, which is battery water. I guess it's battery acid. I don't actually know what the chemical name is for it, but I'm sure some translation from akkuvesi into English, akkuvesi, akkuvesi, will tell you what it is. And the reason for this is because ferric chloride corrodes the steel. It eats into the steel, and the surface gets full of microstructure, like porous microstructure, and all of those are stress points. They can cause cracking. It's not actually very good for the steel. And so, for example, I know a couple, these like super master knife makers in Finland who make, these like $3,000 mini little folding knives. And I was talking with them about, etching and stuff like that. And they said, don't use ferric chloride, use akkuvesi, because ferric chloride corrodes the steel, it eats the steel away. And so that's what do I say? That's one of my first sort of tips about etching. And generally the etching works best over 400 grit finishes. So you'll get away with 240 grit if you leave it there long enough. But 400 is really where it starts to get good with the finishes. And nice thick spine too on this. What else? There was something else I was gonna say, but I forgot. So it's quite a decent blade, this one. I like it a lot. I just kept it simple. There's nothing like super special about this, although it is all forged by hand. The Damascus, it's a 13-layer stack that I fused and folded over and stretched out. I don't know if I folded it twice. I think I folded it twice. It was a 13 fold into 26, and then 26 folded, stretched out. Well, maybe 3 times. I folded it a few times, but I generally, I don't really do that too much, because when you're doing Damascus by hand, you're burning an enormous amount of fuel. It takes so long to stretch out those billets. I got a pretty big hammer that I can use too, which speeds things up, but it's a lot of work, and I did it to prepare for like extra lamination material. So what I do when I'm doing sort of hand forged Damascus is I'll make myself a really large billet, and then I use that billet, I cut pieces out to fit between sandmai layers, or to use as core steel components in another sandmai. So I'll make a billet of Damascus as a raw material for making other stuff. But again, when you're doing a sandmai by hand, you get a lot of failures, and I'm kind of tired of cold shuts and delaminations. So I did this piece of Damascus. I really wanted to, and but I got a power hammer that's coming along, and I'll be using that for making Damascus in the future. My favorite Damascus pattern is 832 layers. It is so beautiful. It's just a random pattern. You get a 800, 900 layers. To me, that's the most beautiful. You get your original 13 or so layer billet and you fold it 6, 7 times. I have a chef's knife over here, whatever, and that's 832 layer core, and it's all done by hand on a coal forge that I did several years ago. And yeah, back when my arms were still young, my elbows, my shoulder could handle it. Now, I don't think I could be bothered to do that really anymore today, because you're going through 40 kilos of coal, and if you screw it up, you kind of, yeah, if you screw it up, you're screwed. It's the same with this. There's a lot of gas that goes into that. If you screw it up, there's nothing to show for it. So that's why I'm sort of hesitant nowadays to do laminations, although I have quite a few, and I have a lot of laminated blades that are stacked and heat treated, like stacked, like as in I can work with. So, but yeah, the ash stabilized with black is, I think, become my favorite material to work with as a handle. It's beautiful, it's simple, and it is extremely tough. And not only is it extremely tough, it's like virtually fireproof. You can't hot fit your blade in there unless you have some kind of like dowel in the middle. Like if you want to do a little bit of hot fitting in there, and then, because the nice thing with hot fitting is you heat up the tang, you put it in, and you can line everything up. You can straighten everything and get it all in place. So I like to do a tiny little bit of hot fitting. The key thing with hot fitting a tang into a handle is you don't want it to turn. You don't want it to be like red. You want it to be like at the temperature where it transitions from like metal to redness, right? Somewhere in that zone. Because if it's too hot, you just burn everything, and it makes a huge mess. And some woods are like the ash; they resist that heat very, very well. And then when you're trying pushing through, and nothing's happening, what happens is your blade is pushing sideways. You're opening the front of the hole, and it's not going in. So, and then you just make a huge mess of everything. But yeah. Also, because this is not a custom order, I could do things that I've wanted to do for a while. Which is, I don't think, this is why I don't want to do custom orders next year, because I just want to be able to do certain things that I want to do, and one of those things was to have the round oval ring here at the front of the wood, and then transition into the octagonal handle, right? And that, I think, feels really, really good. That I like a lot. I like that a lot, super much. Here's, I need to clean this one up. It's got a little bit of grease on the blade, but this is very, very light, stainless steel, kind of utility kitchen knife. And it's got the octagonal ring here at the front, and that feels very good too. But there was one fault with this blade. I don't know if you can see it, where the blade is at an angle, and that's kind of annoying to me. So I don't actually use this blade very much. I'm gonna sell it at a fair this weekend, or try to sell it, and I'm gonna have a special on it. There was one more Damascus blade. This one came out pretty nicely, and I'm gonna try today quickly do a handle construction that I've wanted to try for a long time, and haven't had the chance to do that. So maybe it comes out good, maybe it doesn't. I think I'm kind of like a little bit impartial. It might actually come out kind of ugly, but yeah. So here it is. This is the latest edition. Next year, I'd like to make kitchen knives like this. I'd like to make more of these. Because, and then with the stainless steel blanks that I have, I think I'm going to do like a more simple blade design where they don't have the ring at the front. You just have a basic bolster. Just kind of keep it simple. Because the effort I put into making these, it's pretty high. And I would rather do that for things that are like laminated or kind of more artsy fartsy, right? That's a word I like to use a lot. So the effort and the work that I put into these, yeah, these are nice. They're very nice and they're very light, and they're it's just they take a really long time to make. And by the time I'm finished making it, I feel like I could have just done all that on, something that's got wrought iron cladding, Damascus, Damascus lamination, 52-100 steel core, go for a massive Giotto, and just do like a super knife, really. So, but we'll see. The problem that I have right now with my business is that I have way too many different variations of knives. I have way too many different types of scalpels. Every day somebody orders a different type of scalpel. I have a huge stack of all the other scalpels made, and instead of the one that they purchase. I'm still like wrapping scalpels, even though I have a stack of them on the shelf, because the ones, people are always buying the ones that that are sold out. But so I think I'm going to simplify things next year. I'm going to try and stick with just a couple, just two different scalpel designs. So if there's favorite ones, you can tell me in the comment section. Maybe what I'll do is I also need to bring the price up on them. I like them at $50, but they're not all that. They're not really. The profit is not high enough to actually make it really worthwhile to continue for much longer. So I have to bring the price up. So I think what I might do, bring up like $5 each or $10 each the price, and then I'm gonna have like the custom option. So if you want one with any different type of color you want, it'll be like 15 or 20 euros more expensive. So it's a much more expensive. These were never supposed to be like 50 euros, but because it's a new product and they were doing so well at that price, I left them at that price. I wanted to see how many I could, push out. Yeah, okay, I'm not making that much money off of them, but it's nice to know that now there's like 100 plus, there's like almost 200 of these scalpels all around the world, in Hawaii, in Australia, in Africa, South America, USA. They're everywhere. They're doing great, and they've got like 99% 5-star reviews. So it's awesome. It's really, really good. And the next step would be to have the bevels ground on some kind of vertical grinder, a vertical surface grinder, so that I don't have to do the hand grinding myself. Because there's a lot of maybe every third or every fourth or every fifth is grounded, there's a bit of a muck up on the ground grinding, and so I basically can't use it. And that also, each one of these, just to get to this point, it's actually a lot of money. It's almost like, yeah, it's pretty expensive. Each one of these is very expensive to produce. So, but anyway, it doesn't matter. This video is way too long, but tell me in the comment sections which two scalpels you want me to keep in for next year as a selection. I'm guessing black and something else, maybe the red one, red and black. And I hope you guys have a good one. There it is. There's going to be a lot more of these coming next year after the power hammer arrives.